Ralph, right now we have Reverend James Meeks, who is also a state senator, doing something outside of state government. He goes and sits in the Senate, but right now he's organizing a school boycott of Chicago public schools and saying he'd rather bus kids from the inner city to Winnetka, where they pay more per kid for schooling, to make a point, or what? I mean, what is Reverend Meeks doing, and is there some real argument for what he's doing?
Yeah, I think there really is, and you gotta analyze Reverend Meeks first and foremost as a reverend. This is not a guy you should analyze as a public official or a senator. So he's doing something that he firmly believes in. He wants to reform the way education is funded in the state. And the way he looks at it is he spent half a decade right now trying to introduce legislation. He's produced data, he's worked across the line, he's talked about logic. He said, look, here are all the factors that indicate we absolutely have to make these changes to give every kid a decent education in our state. Here's what we have to do to the tax system. He's introduced the legislation, he's worked with Republicans, he's gotten promises, they've all been broken. In Meeks's mind, half a decade's enough. If he doesn't now work outside the system to put some pressure on it, I think he's very frustrated with the fact that the system itself won't fix the problem, even given the best arguments. And one thing I heard him say the other day was, you know, everyone's on me because I want to take kids out of school. Kids might miss a day of school.
Well, because if they are not in Chicago public schools, they lose that daily head count cash that goes into the system.
But Meeks looked at the other way. He said, I'm worried when these kids go to school, they're missing an education. I want them to get an education. And we've got to get people as outraged about the fact that for decades we haven't given children an adequate education in our state. And when they get the same fervor and outrage over that they have over this silly day of missed school, maybe we'll make a change.
Is there a financial solution nearby here?
Not nearby, but you know, I think not that distant either. I mean, we've seen crisis after crisis in our state, and it's filtered down to the local level, and it's all built on our tax code, really, which has led to all these problems. I mean, the bottom line is pretty simple, Carol. Our costs of public service, whether they're at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, increase at least with inflation every year, at least. But our revenues don't grow with inflation. Over years, you could play little games and cover up those holes, but at some point, it all comes to roost. And I think we're very much at that point. And it's hard for elected officials to be honest with voters and taxpayers and say, you know what, these public services you demand, these public services you need cost. And we actually have to reform our tax system to meet these costs. But the amazing thing is, if you step out of it, Illinois has got a $600 billion economy, $600 billion. The cost of the tax increase needed to fix our problems be about $6 billion. It's 1% of our economy.
But the solution that you would solicit from lawmakers is the one they are most reluctant right now to pass, or even if some have argued, even some Republicans, that all right, hike the income tax. You've got a governor who said, I won't sign it.
Yeah. You need to make it veto proof, or you wait till there's a new governor.